Hey, welcome to episode 3 of In the Car with Des, where we have cozy car conversations about grief, life, motherhood, and anything else that God puts on my heart to share. So, last episode, we talked about the lessons that I've been learning so far with grief, and I have my notebook where I kept like my grief notes, grief counseling notes, and just thoughts that came to my mind that I didn't keep in my journal, but I, for whatever reason, wanted to keep it in the notebook because I wanted to be able to come back and quickly read it, and it's just really helpful for me. And so last time we talked about that the grief journey is that it's a journey, 7 stages of grief, which I shared: shock, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, testing, acceptance, and then I added on a honeymoon phase. And then 3 was let someone know when you're struggling, and 4, everyone grieves differently, grace and more grace. So today we're going to talk about the support system and how that may look different than what you expected. Just a quick little recap. My mom passed away in February 2025 from neuroendocrine cancer, and she spent her last couple of months at home with us on hospice and passed away at home peacefully with family surrounding her. It was an unexpected loss. We didn't have months and years to know that this was going to happen. When she was diagnosed with stage 4, it was a shock to all of us, and that's all I will say on that. You can definitely go to episode 2 to get more of the rundown of what happened. I don't want to spend too much time on that because I already talked about it. Let's get into this. Support system may look different than you expected. Not everyone who is there at the start will be there in the end. I already knew this because of watching other friends go through loss and hearing them say that. People who were there in the beginning, like, they'll show up right when, losses happen. They'll bring food, they'll send groceries, or they might send cards or text messages or well wishes. They'll show up for the funeral. And then you might have some that will stay a little bit longer for a couple of weeks after to check in on you, how you're doing, all those things. And then there are others who would stay a little bit longer for a few months, and then they might trickle away. And then there are those who stay with you for the long haul. And what shocked me was who showed up that I didn't expect to show up. And I say that was a shock only because of the people who did show up, but I had an inkling that I should look out for those who are there and not necessarily those who I want to be there, because I experienced that when I went through postpartum depression. I had a friend group before I got pregnant, and transitions happened. That's all I'll say. Transitions happened for everybody, honestly, for everybody in the group. And so the original core group that I had, I did not have anymore once I got pregnant and once I had my son. I guess looking back, I felt deserted, abandoned. I felt lost. I felt I'm out here floating with no real support. The support that I was used to, the village that I thought that I would have, I did not have in that sense. And it was really, really difficult for me. However, a couple of years down the road, honestly, several years, it took me a few years to start recognizing that there are certain people that keep showing up consistently, and I need to start paying attention to them. And one of them, I think I've already told her this, I'm pretty sure I already told her this, was my friend Gabby. She came in such a subtle way into my life, and once I started to recognize, there was something in my mind, this girl keeps popping up, she keeps, I don't know what she wants or what I have to offer her, but she keeps showing up. And then slowly but surely we started to form a friendship and a bond. Once I clicked, God is sending her to walk alongside you in this season. You are in the same phase of life, and this is who I'm sending to be alongside you in this journey. And then there was also my friend Lexi, who also was kind of gently, not so gently, suggested by her mom, y'all need to be friends. need to hang out. So we became friends, and we, again, same phase of life. And honestly, the people that I was, my original village that I had prior to pregnancy, we, with our different transitions, we were all in different phases of life, but we had one common ground. When everyone transitioned from that one common ground, I didn't have anything else to hold on to, really. And so I used to hate the word "we do life together." I'm like, no, we don't do life together. We do church together. We do a club together. We do this activity together, but we don't do life together. Doing life together, walking alongside me, means we can be vulnerable with each other. I can tell you what's going on, what's happening, the good things, the bad things, mutually supporting each other and just looking out for each other. And I'm gonna get off my soapbox with that. That's how I felt about that. But then God showed me through these ladies, there's many more. Girl, you know who you are. You know what you mean to me. We just gently, it wasn't forced. I just see, looking back, how God just brought them gently into my life, my inner circle. We were in similar phases of life, and we were able to hold each other up accountable and all of those things. And so because I had that experience, I knew that going through the grief process, there are people who are going to be there in the beginning, who will be there midway, and then there are some who are just going to really stick around. And even through all of those different phases of people, don't be so focused on who you want to show up and who is not showing up for you that you miss out on who is showing up and who God is bringing into your life. Cling to the ones that God is bringing into your life, that it is easy. You don't have to work so hard. They are understanding of where you are, where your process is, what your capacity is. They are not demanding more from you than you're able to give. And as a matter of fact, I had some friends in the early stage of my loss tell me, girl, no, you don't have to do this. We are offering ourselves to you. We're offering these opportunities for you to get out and get a break, but it's okay if you don't. It's okay. We understand. That is just such a precious gift that anyone can give somebody else who is grieving. And if you are in a process, you have a friend or a loved one or somebody who is grieving, you can give them that grace and that freedom to just be understanding in the fact, I may not understand what your grief feels like, but I can acknowledge that it is a challenge for you, and that if you're not able to show up in the ways that you used to, I can accept that you need some time, and believe that when you are ready, you will reemerge and we can pick up where we left off if possible. Okay, the next thing I have on here is Grief Share Support Group. That is another great resource for finding support where you don't expect it. I started Grief Share as a suggestion from our hospice social worker. She recommended that, how about you guys go to a support group together? You find a time, dates, whatever, and then invite them to come alongside you. And she said, you may be surprised that you actually end up enjoying it even more than they, or just as much, and realize that it's beneficial for you. And that's exactly what happened. I initially went because I wanted to support or come alongside a loved one, but then realized, oh, this is good. I need this. Bump them. All respect. Bump them. But I need this. This is what I need. These people get me. They get what I'm going through. They understand. They are breaking down things that make me feel seen and heard and understood. And it didn't even matter if no one else in my life got it. I knew that each week I came to that group, this was my designated time that I could cry, I could share my thoughts, my feelings. I did honestly share more when I didn't have my loved ones with me, because occasionally they were with me, but the times when they weren't there, I felt more free to really speak my mind and speak my heart. And it was so good. I came in on week 6. It's a 13-week program, but you honestly could pop in at any time. They have in-person meetings that are usually held at churches, and then they also have virtual, so you can do virtual. And then what they also have is like special holidays, so like a support group or events for the holidays, whether it's like Christmas or Thanksgiving, different like holiday points that could be difficult. They have special events for that. And I haven't gone to any of the events, but the support group was awesome. Like I said, I got in pretty much halfway, and I do plan on going back. My goal is by the end of this year to get back in a group. My grief counselor suggested to do it again a second time because the first time was fresh right after mommy passed away. So she passed in February, and then I started going to the groups, I think in late March or early April, and it went through a little bit to the summer. So it was so close, fresh after, and I've grown and learned and changed so much since then that it would be good to go back a second time and start from the beginning. And it would be good because I can see how much I've grown, see others who are like fresh in it or those who've been on the journey for a couple of years and see where they are and offer support, but also be supported, having new fresh feelings a year out, 2 years out. I highly recommend it, Grief Share Support Group. And then one-on-one therapy was really, really helpful. There is a difference between regular therapy and grief counseling. There is a difference. They are similar. There are some similarities, but just imagine a circle. There are some interlaps. There are some interlaps. There are some interlaps, but they are different. They are different. I thank God, one of the blessings of having hospice and choosing the hospice that we had, which was Empath Hospice, I personally had a great experience with them. There were some things that I was like, I wasn't expecting this and I wish things could be a little bit different, but for the most part, I really appreciate their presence because I don't know, God would have figured it out, but I can't imagine going through the last 3 months of my mom's life, bringing her home from the hospital, the caregiving support. Like, that's mainly why we wanted to have them in, to help support with caregiving, which they didn't offer that, but it was just very, very helpful. We were able to have family counseling. She's 90, gonna be 92 soon, but at the time my grandmother was 91. My 91-year-old grandma got to be a part of a counseling session for the first time in her life, and it was beautiful. I was like, Mommy, this is a gift that you're giving us, because there would be no other way that all of us would come together and have a family counseling session. There wouldn't be no other way. And so we were able to have that, and we had a social worker that did those counseling sessions with us. But also afterwards, they offered 13 months free of charge of grief counseling through their grief counseling team. And they are certified, they're trained in grief counseling. And so it was really, really helpful for me be able to speak my mind, to share without fear of rejection or fear of being judged, and to be able to be held accountable. And my counselor, Nisha, and then I ended with Kathy. They were amazing. They were amazing. Nisha pushed back on me with certain beliefs and thoughts that I had to help me grow, to help me get through this process. It wasn't always talk about the loss, but because when you lose somebody, it affects your whole life. There are so many outlayer things that get triggered, that get upended, that get shifted, that have to be rearranged because of this loss. When someone is thinking, I'm going to take a little side tangent. If you ever feel like, oh, nobody will miss me, oh, nobody cares about me, they would be better off without me, baby, sis, bro, auntie, uncle, grandma, grandpa, friend. No. No. That is a lie from the pit of hell. We are not better without you. We are not better without you. Even if you feel like nobody notices me, nobody's going to notice. Baby, we all notice. We notice. We feel it. And it does not feel good. You are a part, imagine yourself as being a part of a web. And if, like, imagine, okay, a web, a hand. If one piece of that web breaks, it alters the entire system, okay? If I lose one finger off of my hand, the rest of my body is going to feel it. We're going to have to overcompensate. We're going to have to change, adjust, whatever. Not meaning like it's going to be your fault that you left us and now we have to figure things out. But just to know that your presence is missed and things will have to shift. And we really going to miss you. We're going to miss you on so many levels. So please don't believe that lie. Your life makes a difference. I need to take a sip. I have some mint tea in here. Your life matters. So I'm going to wrap this up. But back to what I was saying. Grief counseling is so different. I had someone tell me, like, just the things that they would say, and I expected better of them. I didn't expect them to say what they did. Feeling hot. I didn't expect them to say what they did, considering the professional background that they have. And at that moment, I really recognized, nah, there is a difference. And even as a therapist myself, I recognize there is definitely a difference between a grief counselor and a regular mental health therapist. There is a difference. So if you have the opportunity to be and meet with a certified, trained grief counselor, I 1,000 billion% recommend it. Do yourself the favor and get help with somebody who is trained in this area. I know that there are some grief coaches. I am actually kind of considering it, even with leading a grief share, maybe at some point in time. I don't believe I'm quite ready yet for that. It's not as though you have to be all together and shut off from the grief. I am learning to accept that this will linger with me, and it's not something that I may be healed of or healed from. It's not the same as having the postpartum depression and anxiety and getting to a place where I feel healed, definitely healed from that. And that's a story. It's not my current, but grief, it's just different. And I feel like it hits different and harder. Not necessarily the closer you are to somebody, but whatever connection that you have with them, like the loss of a child, the loss of a parent, whether or not you were really close with them or not, you do feel that loss. My dad is still alive, so I can't speak to that, but my mom, I've mentioned many times before, it felt like my home, like she was my first home here on earth, and it's like my home got taken away and now I'm homeless. So I'm getting better in those feelings. I don't want to say getting better. I feel like I am adjusting more. Because better makes it seem like wherever you are, if you're not handling it well, that you're in a bad way. It's just, you're still adjusting. So I'm adjusting more. to that fact, but it still takes me by surprise. And I would say I'm still a mourning dove. They say when mourning doves appear, let me show you, hold on. They say when mourning doves appear that it's a loved one visiting or letting you know that they're okay. We get these a lot in my backyard, and they always are in pairs. So there's a squirrel, but there's another one here somewhere. So that's cool because I'm here talking about, I felt like my mom was my home and she's gone, and now here is a mourning dove. Those mourning doves and red cardinals are kind of like, red cardinals for sure are a symbol for my family. When we see a red cardinal, and I wouldn't necessarily say my whole family, but my aunt, my sister, my cousin, my uncle, like when we see a red cardinal, it's as if my mom has come to visit. And it's funny, I said this in the group grief share, and I felt okay to say it there. I said, I just find it weird to consider that my mom is a bird, is coming back as a bird to visit. That just sounds so weird to me. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to accept that she's a bird coming to see me. I believe she's in heaven. She has a front row view of everything that's going on. She can see what's going on, but she is not coming back as a bird. The bird can symbolize that her heart is with us, but in that she is watching, but she is not the bird. And I didn't feel comfortable saying that to my family because some of them were really holding on to that. Oh, she came to visit. And I'm like, no, she did not come to visit me as a bird. No, that's not her. But in the support group, you can say things like that and people will understand. So yeah, so those are the things so far that I learned about the support system. That the support system may look different than you expected. Not everyone who is there at the start will be there in the end. Keep an eye out for the unexpected supporters. Let them in. Grief share or any support group. Definitely try those out. And then the one-on-one therapy, if you can get with a certified trained grief counselor, do yourself a favor and get in with them. Yes, we want to pray about it. Yes, we want to talk to family and friends about it. But there is something about going to someone who is trained, who has seen many types of grief for different reasons, different manifestations of it, and they just get it and they understand, and they could be honest with you and you can be honest with them and not have to worry about whatever I say to them. Now I'm going to have to deal with the consequence of maybe being honest or maybe lashing out, or like, you can be completely honest and open with them, and it is just so very helpful. I highly recommend it. All right, that's it for me today. If there was anything that I said that connected or resonated with you, or that you feel was new that you didn't realize before, let me know in the comments. Let's chat it up. And until next time, stay safe and be well. Bye.